Am I the asshole for ruining my wife's work and eating the food before she could take pictures of it? My wife runs a website dedicated for cooking and recipes. She takes pictures of food before we eat, whether it's lunch or dinner, and posts them on her Insta account. To be honest, I'm annoyed by having to wait so long for her to get the perfect shot of the food after decorating it, adding this fork and removing that salad dish. It just takes so long and I lose my appetite from just waiting till she's done. This has become the norm, but yesterday, I decided I was having none of it. I came to find that she has cooked an entire feast as her next cooking project, and put it on the table. Note that by locking at the whole table setting, I figured pictures had already been taken, right? But no, she said she was going to take few pictures and I had to wait. She went upstairs to get her camera. That's when I grabbed the spoon and started filling my plate from every dish she's made and ruining the look as a result. I was hungry and unwilling to wait around for 10+ to eat. She came downstairs, saw the damage, and blew up almost crying, saying I just ruined her cooking project that she worked hours for as well as putting efforts into. I said I was hungry and couldn't wait, but she kept yelling how much of an obnoxious jerk I was for not waiting till DHE took pictures of the dishes she made. Even said that this was an attempt of me to sabotage her success. I said, oh please, enough with those conspiracy theories. I'm just hungry and couldn't wait till she got the perfect shot. We had a big argument and she went upstairs crying. I finished my food, then went out to cool off a bit. When I returned, she'd threatened that she'll never have me eat anything she cooks and said she'd rather throw it in the garbage than give it to an ungrateful, obnoxious jerk like me. I said this wasn't cool, but she told me to go fuck myself. I said fine, then went to spend the night in the guest's room. She texted me the word jerk about 15 times till I turned my phone off. Today she has gone complete radio silence. Am I the asshole? You are the asshole. What the actual fuck? Sounds like this is her job, or at minimum an important hobby. Keep a Lunchable and a juice box in the fridge for when you need to act like a child. You are the asshole. Dude, she worked hard on it and you couldn't wait a few minutes while she took pictures. If you can't stand the wait, then make your own food. You did do it to sabotage her since you knew that she hadn't taken any photos yet. Apologize to your wife. You are the asshole. If you're so annoyed by this, you have two options. 1. Cook for yourself. 2. Sit down and have an adult conversation about this with your wife. What you did was childish. You are the asshole. The fact that you said to yourself that you purposely destroyed her work that she made an effort for hours. Mind you, you even went far by eating every single one. Just because you can't wait for another 10 minutes? Want to eat as soon as you like? Then cook your own food. God. How hard must it be to cook a meal or just make a fucking sandwich? I'll say this again for the people at the back. You are not entitled to make your wife your own chef or maid. This is her work, and technically, you're just a freeloader for her work. You just get to eat because she works. Cook your own damn meal. Bud. Do you really need to ask? You took something she loves to do, something she is proud of, something that brings her joy, and you told her you didn't care about it. I don't doubt that she spent hours if not the entire day preparing that. You sound like an enormous asshole. I feel so sorry for her. You should be supporting her hobbies and interests, and if she has enough followers on Instagram, she could eventually be making much more than you do, if she isn't already. You are the asshole. She runs a website dedicated to food and that involves food photography. Imagine working on a painting for 6 hours and someone ripping it in half. That's what you did. You come off as an impatient, petulant child here. Go to the fridge, grab a string cheese, and grow up. You couldn't wait 10 minutes to eat? Eat the food she made for her work? Personal project info here, because if this is her job, holy forking sporks, dude. You are unbelievably the asshole. Drink a glass of water, have a cracker, or make your damn meal. But first go apologize to your wife. And help her remake her food. ETA. You are the asshole. How is this even a question? Of course you are the asshole. You know you are the asshole. She put hours worth of work into setting that up and you acted like a toddler and messed it up because you couldn't be patient. If you're so hungry that you can't wait for a few pictures, then go get McDonald's. Grow up. Am I the asshole for having told my girlfriend how privileged she is? I, 27, F. have been with my girlfriend, 26, F. for 4 years now, but I have known her for longer and we are in a happy relationship. However, she does sadly have a bad trait of disrespecting staff and people with lower income in general. Don't get me wrong, she's great, but that's her flaw, I guess. For the background, my girlfriend grew up rich, as her mother has an own successful business and her father is a judge in an extremely high position. After she finished school, she wanted to study law just like her dad. Both her parents studied at Harvard and now had in general very good contacts to many people in charge there. When my girlfriend decided that she wanted to go to Harvard too, she made her parents pull some strings, which definitely contributed to her getting accepted after all. I want to note that I have absolutely no problem with this. If she gets the chance to go to the university of her dreams, why wouldn't she take it? Now a little over 2 years ago, when it came to actually finding a job, writing applications and going to job interviews, she was very nervous about it and her dad pulled some strings again on court to make the process easier and less stressful for her, which worked out excellent due to his good reputation and high position. Now we have both finished university, got our careers going and moved in together. But lately when we were in the car, she started ranting again about how much it annoys her when people complain about the low pay they get since it's their fault, that they were too lazy to get a better job. Then I said, I don't think you should judge other people's situations as you don't know their backstories and you gotta keep in mind that not everyone was as privileged as you. She gave me furious eyes and asked me what I meant. I explained that her parents definitely contributed to her success and that not everyone was as lucky as her. She began freaking out, claiming that I said that she was stupid and wouldn't be anywhere in life without her parents' help, even though I said nothing like that. I told her that I would never think of her as stupid and that it still takes a lot of work to get through university and get a good job, just that the jump there was easier for her than to some other. But now she hasn't spoken with me for days and her friends also told me that I was an ass for destruction her self-conception, and I feel bad because I really didn't want to hurt her, so am I the asshole? Not the asshole. I would share something from one of my favorite authors, though. A person who is nice to you but rude to the waiter is not a nice person. Dave Barry. Good luck. However, she does sadly have a bad trait of disrespecting staff and people with lower income in general. Don't get me wrong, she's great. Great people don't do that. Assholes do. Not the asshole. Not the asshole but This isn't a flaw like not cleaning the shower drain well enough. This is a worldview she has that is fundamentally disrespectful to people who aren't as privileged as her. She's entitled, spoiled, and lacks empathy for others. I think you're kind of an ass if you stay with her, to be honest. She's the asshole for being deliberately entitled, classist, and clueless. You're the A for dismissing it as her flaw. That's not a flaw. A flaw is throwing your socks next to the hamper instead of in it. Being a classist bigot is an irredeemable character issue. Not the asshole. IDK if I could stand being with someone who disrespects people like that. Not the asshole. No one likes being called on their privilege, and if you addressed it as gently as you describe here, that's the nicest anyone is ever going to be about her parents helping her succeed. She's probably dealing with some imposter syndrome, hence her lashing out and saying you're calling her stupid and etc. That's something she either believes of herself or is afraid everyone else does. Not the asshole, and your girlfriend is not great. She is a snob, and not a good person. Not the asshole. She sounds like a snob, and that she needs even more doses of reality about other people's lives. On a side note, interesting that you are not bothered by the fact that she had her parents pull strings to get into Harvard. I am. By your description, she already has a ton of advantages in life. I don't begrudge her any of those. But she's apparently not even content with that. She had to elbow her way into a highly competitive school not based on merit, but based on connections. Which means she probably pushed out someone else who doesn't have her connections. Frankly, I think that is worse than anything she said to you. Am I the asshole for not equally splitting my deceased mother's fabric in quilts I made for my siblings? I, M39, am the youngest of 6 children. I was a surprise kid late in my parents' life, and I was a young teen when my mom started to get antsy and want to get out of the house more. She started taking hobby classes. I got dragged along to each and every one. Because of this, I have a wide array of very weird crafting knowledges. Crochet, knitting, basket weaving, quilting, cake decoration, oil painting. While I'm not a master of any of them, I'm fairly competent. After my mother died, I started using her old crafting supplies to make gifts for my siblings out of her things. Everyone got an afghan, scarf, egg basket, etc. It was my way of making sure mom was still there every year. The quilts are where things get a little hinky. I made 3 quilt tops before I ran out of fabric. There wasn't enough to make them all, and I didn't realize it until I was too deep into the project. I ran out and grabbed some fabric. I did my best to get a really broad variety of scraps to keep it from being obvious. I did a few adjustments, split 2 of the existing quilt tops, and added on more using the new scraps. I wanted everyone to have at least some of Mom's fabric in their quilt. When I wrapped them, I didn't bother to put names on them. Everyone just grabbed a package and were delighted to have a nice quilt. It was the last of my mother-son crafting projects, and I was glad to be finished with them all. I ended up mentioning to my sister over dinner last week that only one of the quilts was entirely Mom's fabric, because I had run out of fabric. She immediately asked me which one, and I said that I wasn't sure who had gotten it, I didn't at the time, and explained again that there just wasn't enough fabric to go around. She starts to get annoyed, wanting to know why I didn't make sure to give the one that was entirely Mom's fabric to her, since she was the oldest. You can see where this is going. This snowballed. My sister called my other siblings to solve the mystery, and now, siblings are all texting and posting pictures of their quilts, trying to figure out who got the real one and whose were fakes. I now know, thanks to all the pictures, exactly which one is made entirely of her fabric, but I'm playing stupid. You can't have that much fabric laying in your lap for months without recognizing it. I've gotten more than a few nasty messages about it from the peanut gallery, and all my siblings' friends seem to think that it's insanely rude that I would pull a trick like this. I realize now that I probably should have just broken down all 3 of the quilt tops to spread things around. But God, it was so miserable rushing for months to get them done, only to have to split 2 of them just to expand them back out again. So, am I the asshole for not giving my siblings an equal share of Mom's fabric in their Christmas quilts? At this point, I feel like I should have just made 3 quilts and explained the problem and let them fight about it. Edit. Holy cow. I didn't expect this to get this much attention at all. I came in looking to see if I was really being such a jerk, and I came back to all this. I really don't know how to thank all of you who commented. Thank you for making me feel like I didn't betray my mother's memory. That was sort of where I was going in my head, and I really want all of you to know how much I appreciate your kind words. Not the asshole. Honestly, if anyone deserved the one that was 100% her fabric, it is you. You were the one who went to the hobby classes with her. You were the one to make sure everyone got something made from her hobby stuff, and you were the one who made everything. It is messed up that they are so ungrateful. Petty me says to take back all the quilts and keep them for yourself. Not the asshole. Call everyone privately and tell each of them they have the good quilt. Then ask them to keep it a secret in order to not upset the others. Not the asshole. Not a scrap of gratitude was expressed by your siblings. What you did was not a have to, it was a want to, a sentimental kind gesture. Sorry, your efforts are being overlooked. Take care of yourself while they dispute over details. I find their actions incredibly rude. Did you get a quilt for yourself? You've been making all these lovely sentimental crafts for your sibs, but have you made one of each for yourself too? Not the asshole. As a fellow crafter, learned sewing, cross-stitch, tapestries, candle making and bobbin lace as a child. Taught myself cake decorating and more embroidery after moving out. The fabric is secondary to what makes the quilts so special. It's the fact that you were using skills you honed with your late mother that makes them sentimental. Your sister especially is being incredibly entitled. Not the asshole. I also sew and I know how long quilts take. Text them all saying, message received. I won't spend X amount of hours on a gift for any of you again. Not the asshole. Not at all. You're a human who lost their mother and tried to do something nice for your siblings. If they are upset about the distribution of fabrics, they can pick the quilts apart themselves and redistribute. I'd wonder what's the real issue here. Because these kinds of things are never about the thing they're screaming over. How did your parents divide attention? Were your siblings pitted against each other? What did love and attention mean in your family? Answering these questions won't stop them arguing, but it might help you see that the argument is not actually about you. Not the asshole. Ask them all to give you back the quilts so that you can redistribute the fabric. Once you have them back, put them in your closet and never make anything for these ingrates again. Am I the asshole for kicking my wife out and keeping her daughter? My wife, 38 female, and I, 32 male, have been together for 6 years. She has a daughter, 8. When we met she was only 2. Her father left months before she was born and out of the blue just showed up at our door in December while I was at work. When she formally met her father for the first time, he didn't show much interest. More so interested in what my wife's been up to all these years. 2 weeks go by, not a single word about him. Then my wife says they've together made the decision to county parent. She would not tell me where he lives, or even give me his number. I told her to give him my number in case of an emergency, but she said I didn't need to get involved. My wife always drops and picks up our daughter. Early January she began throwing a fit before going to her dad's. She said it's scary, dirty, and she can't sleep there. She told me in front of her mother, she did not want to go again. Fast forward to this past Friday. My wife is a SOM and working to finish her master's. She got out of class at 8 p.m. and was supposed to pick up our daughter right after. 9 p.m. rolled around, they were not home yet and my wife wouldn't answer my calls. I called her sisters, her mother. No one knew where she was. I drove to the college, no sign of her. Little after 2 a.m. my wife and daughter walk through the door. I was up, waiting nervously. My wife says, "I am so sorry," with the pure look of guilt on her face. The story she told: she was in class when her phone died. She drove to his house, only to find no one was there. She couldn't call him so she waited. They showed up just after 9 p.m. with food in hand. Father explains they went to the fair and got dinner on the way back. Wife goes inside and allows daughter and father to eat dinner. My wife said she fell asleep on the couch while waiting, woke up at 1:45 and rushed home. Says she pulled an all-nighter studying for her exam on Friday and was exhausted. If I recall correctly, she was in bed with me all night long and not studying. Finally, she gives me this guy's address, request I drop her off there from now on. Daughter and I get there, it's a trailer in a high-crime area along a busy highway. The place is crawling in roaches, there was liquor and beer bottles everywhere. There he sat in his underwear on the couch, completely wasted. I returned home, with my daughter. Tonight I find out, my wife has been giving him money and paying his phone bill out of our shared account. I don't like how she's been referring to herself and him as if they're a couple. I strongly feel she's lying and believe they slept together. Tonight I asked her to leave, but told her she needs to leave our daughter at home, the only stable environment she's ever known. I will do whatever it takes to protect her. Her grandmother, wife's mother, 100% supports her staying with me. Legally, I have full guardianship so I'm not breaking the law. Am I the asshole for kicking my wife out and keeping her daughter? Update. I'm exhausted but I'm going to update before bed. I just got off the phone with my Mill. Wife called her mother completely sobbing as she left from here. Mill told her she's made her bed, now lie in it. Said she is not welcomed at her house, and had warned her not to let the father back in. I tipped her off that I think she's cheating. Honestly, I think my Mill is more livid than I am, and I'm pretty pissed off RN. There's definitely more to this guy. My friend took a ride through the trailer park. She's not there, maybe there is hope after all. IDK. I shut off all her financial access. I made her aware before doing this out of concern that he might have access to it. She has her credit cards, if he has access to those then that's her credit down the drain. Before leaving, I gave her plenty of cash to get by for at least a week. Not the asshole. You're trying to keep her safe. Get a lawyer ASAP and, I hate to say it, you may need to get CPS involved. Go ahead and have a lawyer picked out. I smell a nasty divorce and custody battle on its way. Location flag. I would fight for custody. Wife doesn't have income and ex doesn't have very much either. Might be best if your stepdaughter stays with you or grandma. Not the asshole. Lawyer time. Your wife is cheating on you with a deadbeat. Make sure you have legal rights to keep the child. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. That's called being a parent and putting your child's safety first. You have raised her and cared for her. You have legal custody. Her mom was putting her in a dangerous environment with a man your daughter doesn't know. Not the asshole in the court of public opinion, but in a real court this gets real sketchy. Not the asshole. I don't know if this has been brought up, and not to excuse the mother's behavior at all, but are you sure he's not blackmailing or extorting her in any way? If she has suddenly changed her behavior since he arrived, you should at least ask her. Sorry, this is my first time using Reddit so I don't know how to do an update, but here's an update lol. My buddy is doing me a favor right now. He's on his way over to the trailer to see if my wife is there. I guess it's the moment of truth, if she's there it's over. And it's going to hurt like hell but I need to know. Not the asshole, and it sounds like the daughter wants to be with you. You are the father she knows.